Welcome back. Sorry about in these videos, I think I might be ending just a bit too abruptly. I have to get myself, do a little bit better job of pacing myself with the 10-minute YouTube time limit. I've got to stop zooming in on these drawings. Anyway, in the last example, what we did was I set, and I'll actually do this one more time because I think I might have done it a bit too quickly, but I set my metronome to eighth note equals 120. So let me pull the metronome back up, and there we go, it's still on. So all those pulses are eighth notes, and they're in groups of 6, or we would call this a big group of 3. You know, the big beat is 3 eighth notes. So here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 1, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so if we actually, I'll write that in. I'll write that in right now because it might be, it's actually should be important to number those. What color should I do it in? Used up all the colors. I'll just do it in white. One of the things that might be important to do is let's just number these eighth notes. And let's actually do it right below, right here. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is a rest, and then that's our sixth eighth note. So then we play, in the next measure, we play on the first eighth note, then we hold for 2 and 3, so we're not going to write those down. But then we start playing again on, or else actually, you know what, I will write those down. 1, 2, 3. And then right here, we start playing on the fourth eighth note. So there's 4, 5, and 6. So here we go. I'll put the metronome on again and do the example. Go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 1, 4, 5, 6. Okay? One more time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 1, 4, 5, 6. Okay? Great. So anyway, hopefully that makes sense to you. We're going to do this example one more time. And instead of this marking up here for eighth note equals 120, what I want to try is I want to see what would, if this eighth note is 120, or if this eighth note marking up here is 120, and I wanted to instead say what I want you to set your quarter note, or what I want you to set your metronome to is not the eighth note, but this dotted quarter note. If I said that, what is that dotted quarter note equal? And that dotted quarter note, that's the amount of time is one of these blue brackets down here. So we've got 3 eighth notes fit into that. So let's think about that. If we have 120, so this is kind of telling us we have 120 eighth notes a minute. We've got, let's write that down here. So this tempo marking right now, saying the eighth note is at 120 BPM. So that means that we have got 120 beats, 120 eighth notes per minute. So if we have 120 eighth notes per minute, my question to you is how many dotted quarter notes per minute can that be? Because what's the relation of eighth notes to dotted quarters, just in terms of time? Well, it's this, isn't it? It's a dotted quarter is equal to 3 eighth notes, right? So we can fit 3 eighth notes into this dotted quarter. We can fit the time it takes to play 3 eighth notes into one dotted quarter. So that means if we go on and we have 120 quarter notes per minute, so if we have 120 quarter notes per minute, how many dotted, or 120 eighth notes per minute, sorry about that, how many dotted quarter notes is that going to be? Well, it's going to be, this is actually a good time to just use a bit of algebra. And hopefully I'm not confusing anyone by, talking about math or using mathematical concepts. If you are having trouble with math, go to this site, www.khanacademy.org. That's for anyone that's having any trouble with math. Go to khanacademy.org. It's great. It's all free, and it gives you just tons and tons of help with math. I'm getting tons from everything from elementary math to calculus. But anyway, so let's look at this again. So we said, I'll actually write this over here because I've got, actually, you know what? I'll just do a bit more erasing. Okay. So what we're saying right now is one dotted quarter note occupies the same amount of time as 3 eighth notes. So we should be able to just divide that 3 on both sides of this equation. So this is just simple algebra. So I hope I'm not confusing anyone. So this is just we divide by 3. And then we get a dotted quarter note, or 1/3 of a dotted quarter note, is equal to an eighth note. So what that's telling us is that if we have something saying this, saying an eighth note, or we have 120 eighth notes in a minute. We can fit, that's how many eighth notes we fit into a minute. So my question to you is, how many dotted quarter notes can we fit into that same minute at that same tempo? Well, this is what tells us we can fit 1/3 the number of dotted quarter notes into that same minute. So what is 1/3 of 120? Well, that's kind of easy. I'll just, hopefully I don't want to oversimplify things. I hope I'm not, but I don't want to also make things sound too complicated. But I think it's important just to realize that there is a little bit of math to figuring out these tempos. But we just take 120 divided by 3, and that means that we get 40. So that means we can fit 40 of these dotted quarter notes into the same minute. So anyway, that's kind of our ultimate answer for what our dotted quarter note is going to equal up here. So if we want to say that the eighth note is equal to 120, but now we're going to, instead of counting the eighth note, we're going to count this dotted quarter note, and I'm going to just erase up here. There we go. So now our tempo is going to be dotted quarter equals 40. Let me put on my metronome. So now we had been at 120. Let's just slide it on down to 40. Hope it goes that, actually, yeah, just barely goes that low. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay, so that's the tempo. 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 2, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Go. 2, 3. Bum, 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 bum. Bum, ba, bum, bum, bum. Okay? Let me do that one more time. Bum, 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 bum. Bum, ba, bum, bum, bum. Okay? So anyway, that is kind of the commonly accepted grouping of grouping in 6/8 time. Normally, most often, if you were tapping your foot in 6/8 time, you would tap to the dotted quarter note. You wouldn't tap 6/8 notes out in 6/8 time. So anyway, hopefully you found that a bit informative, and hopefully I didn't confuse you. If I did confuse you, please leave a comment on the site, and I'll try to clarify or redo the video or something. Anyway, thanks for watching.